It's a Sunday afternoon showdown between Syracuse and the visiting Virginia Tech Hokies. The Orange came up just short against number 3 FSU and have a chance to prove even more in an ACC conference matchup. Good afternoon and welcome to the broadcast. I'm Jared Johnson alongside Nicholas Whaley. It's exciting if you're Syracuse after just losing at the death 3-2 to FSU. Can prove something against the Hokies.
Well, the narrative has completely changed from Thursday morning because Syracuse went toe-to-toe with the number 3 team in the country in FSU. That is something that Virginia Tech will really need to look out for and have to change their game plan accordingly.
And for Syracuse, it all starts with Shea Vanderbosch, the sophomore netminder that's backed up this team since her true freshman season, and she's done even better going back to her last game.
Well, she's really the backbone of this team. She had a career high in saves against FSU, and it's her athleticism that sets her apart. She's, in my opinion, one of the best goalkeepers in the country, had the most saves in the ACC this season. She's also just such an incredible leader for this team.
Vanderbosch is going to be challenged by many attackers for Virginia Tech, but Natalie Mitchell leads the way, and she can play from anywhere.
Absolutely. She had a great freshman year last season, but this season she's been given more of an attacking role, and she has really proved Coach Chugger right. She has scored some fantastic goals this season. She is very versatile, really a threat for the Hokies.
Some injuries at the start of the season, but Natalie Mitchell has picked up the slack for Virginia Tech. The Hokies coming off a win, and Syracuse with more to prove. We'll have lineups and kickoff right after the break here on ACC Network Extra.
Your first home sees a lot of firsts. From first loves to first steps. And with the Home Depot, you'll find the confidence to create the first place you call your own. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
DirecTV Sports Central gives you access to every game, but Terry doesn't have DirecTV.
Come on, work with that.
Here, now you can find the game easy.
Barbecue is saved!
Get in the red zone with Sports Pack. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
My barbecue is ruined.
With college football on ESPN+, you get the best teams and the biggest conferences, and so much college football action from across the country. So sign up now at ESPNplus.com.
It's the NFL like you've never seen it before. Falcons and Jaguars will transform into the world of Toy Story in real time. Tune in for Toy Story Fun Day Football, Sunday, October 1st on ESPN+.
Overcast skies, a bit of chill and drizzling rain. Syracuse and Virginia Tech set to take the field here this Sunday afternoon, and the Orange will line up with a bit of a different formation, but a lot of similar personnel from their last matchup.
Absolutely, and it was a defensive game against FSU. Grace Giller was definitely part of that, along with Shea Vanderbosch. She also has some stuff going forward. She has 2 assists on the season. She's very good soccer IQ, knows when to put those challenges in.
And on Virginia Tech, the other side, with the typical 4-4-3, or rather 4-3-3, and Lauren Gogol scored last time against Syracuse, and she's on the field again.
Yeah, Coach Chugger really likes Gogol. She connects the attack and the defense very well. She's definitely the unit for this team.
Both teams getting set for kickoff. And Virginia Tech pass it forward. We're underway as the away teams in maroon and orange numbers moves from right to left. It's Virginia Tech, the team menacing in this matchup against Syracuse. Early on, they win a corner kick. It's Virginia Tech coming off a 2-1 win against Boston College. And for the Hokies, Sophie Maltese, one of the starters in that matchup that helped facilitate the offensive momentum that they had.
And early on, Maltese already making her presence known down the right-hand side, really pressing the right-hand side of the Syracuse defense already.
For service, it's Eden Skyers, the lone transfer for Virginia Tech out of Jacksonville in her junior season. Goes for the left-footed in-swinger. Curls toward the near post. A header's on. A second one's there. It's stopped on the back post by Hannah Pilley.
It was Maltese who got that final deflection and nearly ended up getting a shot on target, but well defended by Syracuse in the end.
Victoria Haugen over the top and offside. Plenty of runners back there, but Syracuse with a good job with its defensive line.
And that's what's going to be important today, Jared. they're going to need to be defensively sound and really well press, and a good low block together.
Head coach Chugger Adair, in his 13th season with Virginia Tech, leads the Hokies. They've only missed the postseason twice. You think back to his first season and then the COVID-riddled season that went into kind of spring competition and then into the fall. A bit more difficult with rosters and personnel, but Chugger Adair, he's been a staple at that Virginia Tech program.
He's really created quite an incredible program, Jared. I mean, only 2 seasons where you don't make the NCAA tournament is really impressive.
In a competitive ACC surrounded by UVA, Carolina teams among others, Tech has held its own. So Aaron Fleury carved into the offensive third of the pitch, and Syracuse gets a free kick in a somewhat threatening position here, but it looks like it'll have to be really just distributed on the far post. What are those runners going to do there, Nick, early on? This is how they can capitalize.
Well, this is an absolute prime opportunity for Syracuse to get something on the board. These set pieces are going to be crucial for them today. They need to be running in towards the 6-yard area, try and put the ball right in that danger zone at the top of the 6-yard box where Skinner, the goalkeeper, will have to be tested.
Roush takes, bounces too short. Virginia Tech's first to the clear. But here's Grace Gillard, the right-sided center back, in co-captain, her pass too far ahead of her teammate.
It's going to be crucial today for Syracuse to make sure that they can connect their passes. Against Florida State, they weren't really connecting their passes. They were really playing for those mistakes. Can't blame them. It's the number 3 team in the country. But if they want to get at least a couple goals in this game, they need to be more fluid when in their passing.
At the beginning of last season, head coach Nikki Adams had a winning record, had 8 wins, the most under her tenure, and she said that was the first season that she felt that she was preparing her team to play against the opponent and play their own identity rather than preparing for the opponent. But now things have changed, Nick. You look at a team that only has 4 outfield players on the bench. It makes things difficult for Syracuse, keeping the legs fresh and even just staying fresh and healthy towards the end of the season.
Well, it becomes very worrying from a Nikki Adams point of view when one of your best players, Kendall Lauer, suffered a really terrible injury on Thursday. She's out for the season. Her leg has been strapped up since Friday, and it was a real concern. It's going to be those players who you didn't expect to be playing a lot this season. They're the ones who need to step up and provide the same energy that players like Kendall Lauer provided.
Here's Aaron Fleury into the attacking third. She slows up her pace, fires a shot, but nothing's on it. Not her favored left foot, but she's tried ones from distance in the past.
Absolutely, and Aaron Fleury, she's dangerous. If you give her an inch, she will take a mile. But she does need a little bit of help. She can't do everything. She can't carry the team all completely single-handedly. She needs a little bit of help from the likes of Hannah Pilley to go with her on those runs, on those counter-attacks. That way they can work together and really have a good opportunity.
Aaron Fleury, a player that started the season as a striker, one of the leading goal scorers on this team, second with 4 goals last season. Syracuse concedes a foul there as Kate Murphy stepping up, but you think about this team and how it has a different look. I mean, Aaron Fleury's going to be maneuvering in the midfield instead of that striker position. So
absolutely, it's a little bit different from the Thursday game, Jared, where it was a 4-4-2. This time we have a more 4-1-3-2 in this game, more attacking.
Defense compacted in front of the goal box. Headed back down to earth, a shot fired in on net, and it's in! It's Emma Pelkowski for Virginia Tech. And it's her first goal of the season to put the Hokies up 1-0.
What a strike that is from Pelkowski. She took her time. She got open in space, and what about that? Just outside the hands of Shea Vanderbosch. Pelkowski was somebody that Coach Sugar has been really talking up in the week. She may not have had a goal before now, but she really is somebody to look out for, and that goal was definitely a prime example.
Pelkowski, one of the primary attacking players, listed as a forward, can play in the midfield, can play up top. And Coach Chugger said that her work rate is unmatched, covers so much ground, and when she's not creating goal-scoring opportunities, she's connecting the defense to the forwards, that line of midfield, really just working into those spaces is crucial.
And that's what makes this Virginia Tech midfield so dangerous. They all work in such a good unit together. They go forward together. They go back together. And I have to say, Hokies really do like a spectacular goal. Two goals from long range in 2 games.
So now Syracuse has its back against the wall. The Orange scored first against FSU on Thursday, the 3rd-ranked team in the country. And just minutes into this one, Syracuse is down 1-0.
The worst possible start for the Orange. They wanted to keep it at 0-0 for as long as possible, then try and get something.
Space continued to open up, but finally the ball trickles out. Last touch off of Anna Rupert, and Syracuse concedes a goal kick to Virginia Tech.
That is the point when the Orange need to try and whip the ball in towards the center, and this is something that Coach Adams will definitely look to have much better opportunities in the penalty area.
What do you think is going through her mind right now, the decision-making of when does this team press, when does it attack? Because we saw Erin Fleury just minutes before Syracuse gave up the opening goal, attack that open space. It's open against this Virginia Tech team.
She'll be very glad that there has been that space, and it'll give her confidence that she can sort of make those adjustments and help her team move forward. But the fact that you're already 1-0 down, or we're less than 10 minutes into the first half, it's definitely a concern, and with the rain coming down as well, it's not going to make it any easier.
Yeah, behind the play, number 22 in maroon, Taylor Bryan, the senior striker, just hobbling back to her feet. Virginia Tech has some trouble with the ball. Rauch wins it forward. It's starting to rain now, so players falling to the turf, slipping to ground, that changes things a little bit. As far as your passing goes, what do you have to watch out for?
Well, we just saw it, Skinner in goal for Virginia Tech. Hit the floor and nearly ended up in a goal for Syracuse to tie the game. You have to be more careful. You got to make sure your feet are more planted and have that little bit of extra caution that you feel that it might hamper you a little bit more, but we'll have to see.
Grace Gillard with the delivery and Fleury's header. One bouncing into the breadbasket of Skinner.
Just didn't get enough power behind it, Fleury. She got up over her defender, and it was a really good ball into the box from Gillard, and just really couldn't get enough power behind it to test Skinner.
You mentioned Skinner's distribution. Right there off the goal kick. And Sophie Maltese into the third. Attacking third. On the far side, Maltese gets the ball back. Looks to the far post and takes a hop. And safely in the feet of Vanderbosch, she'll maneuver into her goal box.
A little bit nervous there from Shea Vanderbosch. Came out, and so maybe a little bit of miscommunication between her and Gillard. It was a real heart-and-mouth moment as she didn't get any contact with the ball, but that's what was the dangerous thing. Maltese on the far side for Virginia Tech, able to whip those balls into a very dangerous area, forcing Shea Vanderbosch to make a decision.
Vanderbosch 2-7-1 entering tonight. Last season 7-6-2. A huge part of Syracuse's success, along with a few transfers that really jump-started Syracuse's offense. We mentioned it earlier, but that's the biggest thing that's changed for the Syracuse team is you talk about recruiting, you talk about the transfers out the door. And right now, a lot of players are in positions that they don't usually play.
Absolutely. I mean, Erin Fleury is playing and pretty much any position on the field. She has the most goals this season. She should be playing higher up. She should be playing in the attacking mid position, but she's been forced to be more defensive.
Great takeaway from Kate Murphy. She's looking for the space ahead of her. Murphy, the senior left back, pass into Hannah Pilley. And she's got to wait for support. Nick, the switch should be on here if there's a look up ahead and check your shoulder, but Syracuse loses the ball there.
You ought to have that little bit more awareness as a team. Abramson had so much space on this right-hand side, but here come the Hokies the other way.
A chance on the far side. Crossed it in near post, just past Maltese. Good job by Abramson to ward pressure away. And the pass out to Rupert goes awry.
Those are the mistakes that you don't need. Now Virginia Tech have another opportunity in the final third.
Natalie Mitchell tries to hold up the ball. Here's Liesl Auden, the lone goal scorer for Syracuse. The second goal they got against FSU was an own goal. Auden, though, creating that chance off a turnover, and you mentioned Skinner's distribution, especially in this weather. That's something for Auden to watch out for. She's already capitalized off of her engaging press.
Well, the goal against BC that Skinner conceded came off of a mistake. She played it out the back, and it went straight to a BC attacker, and in the end, it ended up being 1-1. And those are the mistakes that Virginia Tech could really do without. The mistakes are what the Orange are really looking for to grab a few points in these games. We saw it against Florida State. They had 2 shots the entire game, both off of Florida State mistakes. It's what the Orange are looking for.
And Syracuse has to pass its way out of this one. Winning another throw-in. This is where it gets difficult for the Orange, trying to get out of these tight spaces. You see all of the maroon jerseys for Virginia Tech crowding that space, no room for Erin Fleury.
Absolutely, and the thing is with Erin Fleury, she likes to have the ball at her feet, and if she's the one taking those throw-ins, can't really have the ball come to her. And I mean, she's just so creative, and she's able to get out of those spaces very well single-handedly. She just needs that little bit more support.
Well, Syracuse continues to try to carve through this Virginia Tech defense. Head coach Sheggar Adair for the Hokies said in his last game they like that they got the early goal against Boston College. They wanted to be aggressive, and obviously they've done that again, but they need to be more defensively disciplined. That was what faltered in that last game, and it's something to watch out for if you're Syracuse. Take advantage of disorganization. Take advantage of mishaps in communication.
Soccer is definitely a game of mistakes. Like if everybody played perfectly, there would be no goals. But that was a very, very scary challenge. A scary play right there on Lauren Gogol. Never like to get the ball in the face.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a difficult play. She wasn't even expecting that one. Gogol, one of the staple midfielders for Virginia Tech, scored a goal against Syracuse last season in the Hokies' 2-0 victory.
She doesn't get on the score sheet often, but it was a player that Coach Chugger has really commended and that has somewhat gone under the radar this season. She really connects the attack and the defense very well.
Gogol pushes the ball back outside. It's great one-touch passing up the line. Mitchell, first time across, taken away. Great cutout from the Syracuse defense.
Yeah, it was Kaylin Grant who made the initial interception. She did very well to sort of keep her composure. She actually was able to control the ball off of the cross and able to pick out her options very well.
Allie George, the right back, tiptoes her way past one. It's chopped out for a throw. It's a really interesting story for Allie George. The Virginia Tech right back, last season, she didn't start a game, but that's because she was playing as an attacking mid and a midfielder, basically on the outside. But once they made the switch in the spring season to play her as an outside back, she won her spot. Since then, she's really used her attacking work rate and her defensive work rate to earn what she's had so far, started in every single game this year.
And this is where you really got to commend Coach Chugger for the work he has done, not just on the field, but off the field. Many of the players on the field right now for Virginia Tech are their returnees. They have done such a good job in recruiting, and that's just telling from how successful he's made this program. Only 2 seasons where he hasn't made the NCAA tournament. Those are really telling stats.
Fleury dances past a few Virginia Tech players. It's outside with Rupert. Across the box and cleared away. Settled back down by Alyssa Abramson. She's moving on her favored left. Abramson with space. Alyssa Abramson can't get the ball past Gogol. It's karate out of the way by Hogan and finally pushed away for Aiden Skyers. So Virginia Tech with a sigh of relief there. Syracuse is finding the space. We talked about it earlier with Erin Fleury, but Coach Chugger's going to have to watch out for when Fleury makes that pass, she's drawing players, so the space is open somewhere for other Syracuse players.
Yeah, it was really nice feed from Felissa Abramson there. She was able to cut inside. It was a good challenge in the end to keep her from progressing further, but that's where she needs to lift her head up and find that extra option to keep the play moving, and then eventually work the ball into the penalty area and try and get a shot away.
Smart foul by Kate Murphy in transition. She gets back to her left back position, and play is restarted by Gogol.
Yalda nearly intercepted that one on the pass, and those are the split balls in between the lines that Syracuse will look to intercept, especially in the attacking third.
Gillard checks her shoulder. Back with Vanderbosch. Nikki Adams said she expected Virginia Tech to be a high-pressing, high-octane team, very physical. So far, the Hokies haven't pressed. Maybe it's because of that early goal, but the physicality is definitely there.
Well, the goal is definitely a key point in that argument, Jared, because once you get that goal, especially when you're on the road in the ACC, you're going to want to sit back. You just want to make sure now that you don't concede a goal. Even if you do concede one, you still got that draw. Virginia Tech will, of course, want to win the game, so having that one-goal lead is massive, especially at this early stage.
Maltese turns into the midfield. The switch all wrong, and Virginia Tech resets all the way back with Skinner. Nearly intercepted again, and Coach Chugger and his staff are outraged right now. It's a chance for Aaron Fleury to capitalize. Pass deflects, and Rupert's cross straight into the path of Skinner.
Well, that was dangerous once again from Skinner, and you got to really commend the Syracuse attacking players for stepping up and trying to win the ball when they're playing out the back. But that'll be a real concern for Coach Chugger there, because those are really hospital balls from Skinner, and it's not the first time we've seen it from her. She really needs to be careful when playing out the back.
Skinner, a player that got injured in the first game of last season, and now settling back into starting play. So Kate Murphy's down on the far side of the field. It's a challenge for her, the left back, the senior, who's been a staple on that left side for Syracuse, and that's what can happen in these challenges. You don't really see each other till you collide.
Yeah, it was head-to-head contact there between her and Lauren Gogol. It's never a good thing, especially I'm very happy that in the modern game of soccer, they're really clamping down on those head injuries because they can be so dangerous. And as we can see right here, Kay Murphy, who has already been suffering with injury to a hamstring, and it's definitely a big concern for Nikki Adams.
Yeah, that's definitely something Syracuse is focusing on when you think of all the players that are on the bench and injured. I mean, when you go to concussion protocol, Nick, you think of Aaron Fleury, who had concussions last season, Kobe Commandant, the sophomore midfielder who had to transfer out being medically discharged. He's at Oklahoma, but sitting out the season. But other injuries that really just line up across the Orange lineup. Look at Kendall Lowry, who you mentioned, got injured on Thursday.
I mean, the fact that there's only 4 attacking players, or outfield players, excuse me, available for Syracuse on the bench. Kendall Lau, who she's been so good this season, playing as the outside back, a junior who has really stepped up this season. It's really devastating that she could be out for the rest of the season with a pretty serious knee injury that she suffered against Florida State. And Kay Murphy was another one. If she goes down for the Orange, the injury tallies just keep adding up. And for Coach Nikki Adams, this is something that is really dejecting, and that's what she really mentioned to us on Thursday, how when these are the cards that she's been dealt and they're making the best of it, it's something that no team really wants to have, but it's just the situation that they put themselves in.
Murphy gets back to her feet. She's only missed 1 game all season thus far. She got a red card a few games ago. She's made 9 starts up to this point. But this long break now, a hiatus in play, it's a chance to really coach your side. I mean, hydration break, but also you see Nikki Adams, Brandon Denoyer, all of the assistant coaches really marshaling instructions to various position groups. You see Alyssa Abramson there talking with Brandon Denoyer, the assistant coach, among other players, substitutes.
This is definitely a good opportunity, especially for the Orange, because they've been in this game, and maybe 1-0, but all of it really has been was quite an incredible goal for Virginia Tech to start the game. Syracuse have been able to get into the Virginia half and have the ball in spells, so they're definitely not out of this game at all.
And it's definitely going to be an uphill battle if you're Syracuse. The first substitution is prompted, though. Grace Franklin onto the pitch. Kate Murphy takes a break. We'll keep you updated with her status off of that head collision near midfield. Grace Franklin will slot in at right back, and a lot of players moving around. We'll see what her eventual position is. Syracuse shaping up its defense. The long ball is played in for Virginia Tech. Pressure on, and the pass cut out. Hannah Pilley, though, all alone and double teamed. Good play on the turn. Natalie Mitchell hounded by Ashley Rauch. She kicks it up in the air. And Mitchell, you got to watch out for her dynamic play with the ball at her feet. Both goals she scored against Boston College came in transition play, so one of the key things to look at is so far Syracuse has shut down any of that end-to-end north-south play. How is a player like Mitchell, who leads Virginia Tech with 5 goals, going to capitalize when she doesn't have that space in front of her?
Well, it's going to be very difficult for her, especially because I think Ashley Rauch is doing a very good job at sort of locking her down. But it's in transition where the Orange are the ones who are really capitalizing.
Erin Flory takes her space, looks to her left, dishes to her right, too far ahead of Hannah Pilley.
This is where Syracuse really needs to connect in that final third. The final ball is so important. Erin Flory did a fantastic job of working the ball with her feet. She had the space and she had numbers, just needs to connect that final pass.
More players up for the aerial challenge. And Gillard pushes it to safety. So after that collision, you know, the referee has the onus to slow things down, make sure less head-to-head challenges come. Obviously, you get up shoulder to shoulder, but as the game transpires, things get really physical.
Well, especially in this day and age, like with the head injuries, going straight up is always dangerous.
First ball in off the head of Fleury. Gillard with the smart header gave Vanderbosch a chance to keep in play.
Yeah, Shea hasn't really been tested too much there, apart from that one shot on target in the early going, which ended up in the back of the net. She is the backbone of this Syracuse team. Even as a sophomore, she is one of the leaders of this team. She is, of course, 16 saves against FSU on Thursday. Her record only one away from the program record. And she's just one of the best goalkeepers in the NCAA at the moment.
Maybe it's not a bad thing she's not being tested and you rest your legs and everything like that. Syracuse defense still holding its own in front of Shea Vanderbosch. They'll have to ward off more pressure from Samantha de Guzman. The freshman across inside, driven in, just past Grace Franklin. No runners there.
Yeah, you got to have runners in the box. Got to be crashing the Syracuse goal there. It was a really good ball in from Samantha Guzman towards the censor, and amazed that there wasn't a Virginia Tech player who got on the end of that one.
Gillard again on the second ball. She's been in perfect position on every clearance, organizing the Syracuse defense. Pelkowski, the goal scorer, can't distribute efficiently. Virginia Tech's just eating up all of those second chance balls in the midfield.
And we're seeing a few more slips on the turf as well, Jared. The rain has stopped for at least a little bit longer, but this is Syracuse. We know that the rain can come at any time, and especially it was raining last night as well before the game. That turf is definitely going to be slick throughout.
The ball trickles back all the way into the feet of the sophomore goalkeeper, Shea Vanderbosch. She mentioned her career-high 16 saves against number 3 FSU. only one behind Shannon Myers, who set that record for a single game in 2004. I mean, ever since Shea Vanderbosch has come to the program in the starting role, every single accolade just keeps getting better and better.
Well, she took over against UConn last year. She has been just a stalwart between the sticks for Syracuse. I mean, she's just phenomenal. She's so athletic. She's able to get to those saves, to get to those shots so easily, and she's almost has X-ray vision in some of the saves she makes. She has bodies in front of her, especially against Florida State, where there was 33 shots in the game for the Seminoles, and she's just making save after save after save. It really was fantastic to watch.
Kylan Grant resets with Shea Vanderbosch. The clear heaved on over the head of Cobb, and Lisa Wadden's on it. Syracuse throw.
And now's a chance for Syracuse to actually finally get up the field, see if they can create something, and maybe that final ball can actually be connected. But a return over from Aaron Fleury is definitely not what they need.
Fleury's decisive, though, in her movement. Turns around one, pokes it around another, and she's upended.
It's the one thing about Aaron Fleury, she can draw those fouls so easily because she just has such quality when going in between the lines, and so good with the ball at her feet. She can read the play as it develops so well.
So here's Grace Gillard now to kick the ball in. Chips it towards the far post. Fleury falls to ground. Grace Franklin, though, on the second chance, and she gets the last touch of the ball.
It's a good ball in from Grace Gillard initially. She's been good on those set pieces this afternoon. Not sure what happened with Aaron Fleury there on the defensive end. She has sort of hit the floor, maybe a little bit of a slip possibly as well. But again, another missed opportunity for the Orange.
Grace Franklin operating in that attacking third, recently subbed on for Kate Murphy, who exited the field after a head-to-head challenge in the air near midfield. Ashley Roush, another Virginia product, along with Grace Franklin. We mentioned how these teams are so different in the way they recruit, both ACC teams, but Virginia with one transfer in Eden Skyers, who's defending on this left side flank. Other than that, everyone's really close to the Virginia area, and if you look at the actual numbers, they have 16 of 36 players from Virginia on that roster, and a lot of them are given the chance. Coach Sugar said he really likes to work with who's at his program. Doesn't really like to pull from outside positioning and or players, because ultimately, unless he needs to address a need, he can create a culture that way of how he wants players to develop.
Absolutely, and that's why we've seen there's so many sophomores and juniors in this team.
Natalie Mitchell, one of them, just couldn't connect with Samantha de Guzman. The freshman gets the ball back. Her shot just past the near post.
Yeah, Samantha de Guzman, like we were saying, she's one of those new recruits this season, true freshman. Her and Natalie Mitchell have really formed a great duo, working forward, and ball was played in very nicely for de Guzman, who she was pressing hard and made sure she won it off of Abramson and had to go, just couldn't find the target.
De Guzman in her 8th start of the season, 2 goals, 3 assists, but she couldn't get that one past Shea Vanderbosch. She's pushed all of her players forward, suffocating the middle of the pitch. Second ball is important here. Franklin with the header on it, and Cobb to bring this one down. Asia Cobb, that's maybe a player that could step up in this one.
Absolutely, and I think Syracuse has done a very good job in the midfield to a certain extent.
Now another giveaway. Pushed all the way outside. A chance for Virginia Tech and a save from Shea Vanderbosch.
And that's not something unique, is it, Jared? But once again, Shea Vanderbosch being such a key aspect of this Syracuse team. It was a real good shot in the end from Virginia Tech. It was Anna Weir with the shot, and Shea Vanderbosch had to push the ball over. It was a lot of power on the shot from Anna Weir.
Another freshman on this team in her 11th appearance. One of the many features of this Virginia Tech offense. Mitchell inside, punched away from Vanderbosch. Only as far out as Cobb, who pushes it forward. It's her against the world. Asia Cobb gets the ball stuck up and falls to ground. Virginia Tech again wins it in transition. Ball in behind for Mitchell. Touch pass Vanderbosch. It's the second for Virginia Tech. Who else but Natalie Mitchell, who leads them with 5 goals on the season. Her 6th makes it 2-0.
Well, can you believe that she's a sophomore, Jared? I mean, the composure of this play, the ball was played in on a plate for her, but she still had a lot of work to do once it happened. Asia Cobb could have done a little bit better. The ball in from Polkowski. She now has an assist added to her goal. Rounds Vanderbosch with ease, and the composure of Mitchell. And Virginia Tech, 2 goals to the good.
You ever think something like that when you see Vanderbosch get beat there? She might be a bit hesitant. Last time she played against Virginia Tech, she got a red card coming out for a challenge like that. So obviously it's last season, but you still remember those things in your head.
I think this early in the game as well, it's hard to say, because from a goalkeeper's perspective, you're expected to always be aggressive. And once you start coming out, you have to be committed. And the play happened so quickly, and it was such a perfectly placed ball from Pelkowski that sort of maybe even surprised Vanderbosch somewhat. And in the end, whether it was a mistake on Vanderbosch's part or not, doesn't matter anymore. Syracuse now have a mountain to climb.
We mentioned the variance between the 2 rosters. Head coach Nikki Adams, with a 24-player roster heading into the season, only 4 substitutes on the bench right now.
Sorry, Jared, it might even be 3 now with the injury to Kate Murphy. It's definitely a concern.
1-2 pass. Inside for de Guzman. Another save from Vanderbosch. Well, now she's racking up the saves. More chances as Syracuse either gets out of sorts or has to take more chances up the field. It's another cross deflected out, and it will be a corner kick.
Shea Vanderbosch once again is able to make the save. It was definitely a lot of power from de Guzman there. And again, Shea Vanderbosch, she not only gets to the save, but she parries it away with purpose, gets it as far away from the goal as possible.
So far in this game, Syracuse doesn't have a corner kick yet. Virginia Tech with a handful, this time back outside with Eden Skyers. The left back chops the ball in. Maybe a chance for Rupert to get forward, but she pokes it clear. And we saw with Asia Cobb, maybe Syracuse got a bit too excited pushing numbers forward. You get beat the other way.
Well, the problem was for Asia Cobb, she just sort of got the ball stuck underneath her. She was away. It was her against only 2 Virginia Tech defenders, and all of a sudden that turned into an opportunity for the Hokies, and in the end it ended up being 2-0. But the transition is where Syracuse have to be better. If Virginia Tech are going to get more and more corner kicks, the counterattack is going to be so important, and they need to capitalize on every opportunity because there are going to be very few of them.
What changed from the first 15 minutes to the middle 15? Syracuse was more compact. Then Virginia Tech has opened up Syracuse. There's been some transitional moments.
I think Kate Murphy coming off is a very important part of this team. That she, especially on the left-hand side, that was a good challenge there from Vanderbosch in the end. That time she came out perfectly, but Kate Murphy on that far side was really sort of destabilized the Syracuse team, especially in the wide areas. But I think Coach Chaga, during that Kate Murphy injury, has definitely made some adjustments, and the Hokies are really dominating the midfield more and more.
Well, Syracuse has a response to those changes, and it's 1 substitution, Mackenzie Dupre. And she'll be an attacking-minded substitution, usually a midfielder, but slotting up top right now as Hannah Pilley exits the pitch.
I haven't seen enough from Hannah Pilley in this game. She was somebody who I want to see get more involved and work with Fleury more, especially in the forward attacking areas in the midfield. And she just hasn't been able to connect, hasn't found that groove yet with this team and in this team. And the Hokies really on the front foot.
Franklin wins the challenge, pushes the ball out. It's Virginia Tech with the 2-0 lead, scoring early on in this matchup in the 6th minute, and then just minutes ago, after Natalie Mitchell went around Shea Vanderbosch for her 6th goal of the season. She leads the Hokies in that department. Now all the white shirts are just in front of the goal box. Syracuse a lot more compact, means there's space on the wings. Switch of play for Virginia Tech. The cross reversed back again, and nobody home on the far post.
Well, the Syracuse formation has changed from a 1-3-2 with sort of 3 more attacking players. They sort of switched to a 4-4-2. Erin Fleury playing a little bit more defensive once again, and there'll be disappointment just because Erin Fleury offers just so much going forward. Has incredible skills with her feet and has that vision that she can sort of create something out of nothing. And now that she has to play a little bit more of a defensive role, it's going to make it very difficult for Syracuse.
Again, there's space for Virginia Tech to attack. Aino Warrenen turns on the ball, her first touch of the ball in this game. She was a stable feature as far as being a starter on this team. But last season, got injured towards the end of it. That's why Eden Skyers, the lone transfer, number 28 in Maroon, is playing at left back. Coach Chugger said he needed to address that need, and that's where he went, the transfer portal.
The transfer portal is such an important part, and it's something that Coach Nikki Adams has told us that she's going to be really pushing in the off season. It's really been a tough 2023 campaign for Syracuse Orange in that department. The transfer portal is the modern way of recruiting players, and players from across the country have the opportunity to go to different ventures and seek different opportunities.
And that's what happened to a lot of Syracuse players, that 5 of them transferred out the door. Pauline Mockten's a staple feature in that midfield, signed professionally back home in Germany. And 4 players graduated as well. Eden Skyers shoved away by Asia Cobb. Cobb, though, falls to the ground and wins a foul for Syracuse.
I like that aggression from Cobb. Like that, this is what's going to be key for Syracuse, not just today, but going forward. Having that energy, having that aggression in the low block defensively, and realistically, with just about 14 fit players on the roster, you need to have players who want to play for the team. It's not going to be easy. You're going to be defending a lot, and you're going to need to be winning those fouls as much as you can.
As you mentioned, for Syracuse's personnel, biggest success they had in the transfer portal, Chelsea DeMond with 5 goals, 5 assists last season. First player to get 15 points or more in a season since 2014. First time in the Nikki Adams era, of course. So that's a part of the idea of what she wants from this Syracuse team, not just recruiting and building culture within a program with younger players, but also bringing in players with experience that can show players what to do when they've been there and done that. And right now, that's a situation you probably need a whole lot of when you're down 2-0 in this game.
Absolutely. This is where experience comes in so crucial. And when you look at the Virginia Tech team, yes, it is an influx of sophomores and juniors and even some freshmen, but a lot of these players have been here for at least a season or 2.
Rupert pokes it on. Dupre can't get to the end of it. It is a corner kick, though, for Syracuse.
Once again, the mistake coming out of the back for Virginia Tech, and these are the mistakes that Syracuse definitely need to capitalize upon. And yeah, they've got a corner here, but they definitely could have created more out of it.
Syracuse coming off a Thursday night loss to number 3 FSU, 3-2. And in that span, after they won against Binghamton on senior night, only had 1 draw, 5 losses. This is a chance for Syracuse to get back on the good in the win column. But a lot of players playing in different positions. Includes Alyssa Abramson. From the right side, loops this ball into the box, and Rauch has to settle to feet. Does so poorly, though. Syracuse will get back on it.
Good recovery from Rauch in the end. She did misjudge the long ball, but able to put her body in a position to protect the ball and reset it so that it wouldn't cause a turnover.
Kendall D'Amelio, the pass forward with Anna Weir. Great sliding challenge from Grace Gillard. She took down the freshman with authority.
Yeah, Grace Gillard, you can tell why she has started every single game she has had at Syracuse, and Weir was in here for the Hokies, and Grace Gillard really did have to make that interception with certainty.
Gillard with the proverbial pass of the torch from Jenna Tibnan, the grad player who had been here for plenty of years, was the captain on that back line during her freshman season. Chance for Virginia Tech. The shot's chopped towards the far post and out.
Yeah, didn't wrap her foot around the ball enough to challenge Shea Vanderbosch, but Virginia Tech really do like these long shots. They had a few of them in. They've really had those opportunities throughout the game, and of course we have a few more ACC games going around this season. Today, Florida State and UNC.
Yeah, the standings so tight between the national rankings and ACC teams. Currently, Ensign Dorrance's perennial winning program in UNC down 2-1 to Florida State.
Up, Kylan, up.
So back on the far side of the field, another corner kick won by Virginia Tech. Anna Weir battling with Kylan Grant.
And since she's come on, she has really forced the Syracuse Orange to make decisions, and it was another one there from Kylan Grant, had to force the corner kick. She has really had a lot of energy coming in and causing problems.
Runners at the top of the box. Skyers with the cross, the header to the back post. That's why you got players there, just in case.
Absolutely, and that's definitely a good tactic for Syracuse to have those players on the line. There's been a couple situations from the corner kicks that we've seen today, and this time it was Mackenzie Dupre who was able to protect the goal line and able to clear it for Syracuse.
No substitution for Virginia Tech. Ellie Farrell onto the field. And she slots in up top. Coach Sugar told us a lot of these midfielders and forwards, especially when they're eager and high pressing, you don't really see them in a defined position. Farrell listed as a midfielder, but she's kind of playing stretched towards the wing. She can move anywhere. That's what makes this team so challenging to defend against.
And that's what makes it so difficult for any coach to try and form a game plan and say, Coach Chaga has done an incredible job with this team, and they all work in such harmony and able to interchange who plays where, and they all play at the same level that is required in the ACC. And I really have been impressed by this Virginia Tech team as a whole.
Erin Fleury on the turn. The Hokies know to force her on her left. Still dangerous as she distributes outside. Abramson, first touch, and just over the bar.
I'm not sure Skinner realized how close that was. I mean, Abramson really had a go at this one, and it just crept over the crossbar.
It's one of those chances where you think it's a cross, then it turns into a shot. But Abramson occupying that left side flank at the left back position in the absence of Kate Murphy, who was subbed off midway through the first half after contact to the head. Aerial challenge at midfield. Virginia Tech again finds open space the other way. Anna Weir, first touch shot, calmly eaten by Shea Vanderbosch.
Very good composure there from Shea Vanderbosch. And Cara Monterey, who is actually a walk-on for Syracuse. She has been one of the important utility players that Coach Nikki Adams has had to call upon as the roster keeps depleting.
Yeah, Monterey, one of the few players on the bench for Syracuse right now. She's next to Maya McDermott, sidelined with an ACL injury, and Kate Murphy right next to her in a yellow bib, as they say, for the substitutes. Just getting settled on the bench. So far has not re-entered the match. Anna Weir on the turn into Fleury, and Syracuse's captain wins a foul there.
That was definitely a 50-50 challenge there between Weir and Fleury. Referee decided to give it to the Orange.
Virginia Tech 4-3-3 1-1 in ACC play. Heading to this matchup, the Hokies expected to really be on the front foot, and that's what they got after the first goal from Emma Pelkowski, a belter just from outside the box. And then midway through this first frame, Natalie Mitchell got on the board with her 6th. What do you expect if you're Syracuse for the final 5 minutes? I mean, do you take a chance here?
You definitely should, because there's been points in this game where Syracuse really have been able to break down the Virginia defensive line, and players like Erin Fleury have been able to create space, but that final pass just hasn't been on. They have had opportunities. They've had 4 shots in this game. It's not like Florida State, where they were sort of just sitting back and just waiting for any sort of mistake. Syracuse definitely should try and test Skinner a little bit better.
Anna Rupert tries to find space, cut out again for another throw. And so far, the lone white jersey right at midfield is Grace Gillard for Syracuse. Everyone else up into the attacking third. Rupert not allowed space to turn. We've seen many times in this game when Virginia Tech plays the ball back, maybe it's a chance to go forward. Gillard, though, heads that to safety.
And just the fact that Syracuse had practically everyone forward there is telling that they want to try and get at least a goal before halftime. 2-0 is not an impossible scoreline to come back from in 45 minutes, but it's definitely a lot more difficult than if it was 2-1, and Syracuse can definitely grab a goal before the half with just under 4 minutes to play.
It's all about risks for Syracuse. And right now, got to get players back. Eden Skyers, a nice pass out there to Ellie Farrell. Let's reset across the field. Here come the Hokies yet again. Ella Valente with a cross, blocked by Abramson. Valente on her left, blocked by Cobb. Set up for Gogol. Gets it out of her feet, fires a shot, parried away by Vanderbosch. You could see it coming there, and she really got good contact there, Lauren Gogol.
Well, the save was definitely required. Gogol did very well to get the shot away, and that bounce right in front of the goalkeeper sometimes can be scarier, but Shea did a very good job of reading it. And especially when it's in this sort of weather where the turf in front of the goalkeeper is going to be slick, the ball can be a little bit unpredictable in the bounce, but Vanderbosch did a very good job there.
The rain subsiding just minutes ago. Only about 5 or 10 minutes ago here in Syracuse. But the pitch obviously still a bit wet. Players slipping. The ball travels a bit faster, and it's influenced that forward play. You can't go directly north-south, otherwise the ball just goes straight into the path of the goalkeeper.
And that's why Virginia Tech have really liked to play the ball on the ground, especially down the lines, and they've been trying to get the ball into the box, and they've done it very successfully, and creating those opportunities as well at the top of the 18 has been very dangerous, but Syracuse have been able to protect.
And well enough to force a goal kick. It's a good attacking build-up, but the chance not up to par. So Vanderbosch will reset a goal kick here. And Syracuse still in that 4-1-3-2. It's almost as if sometimes it looks like a 4-4-2 with the diamond, but it's different from what they played last game. So far, it's influenced some attacking build-up. Syracuse can't find the end product.
Well, this season, Coach Adams, she has been having to change the system just because of the amount of players that she has available. Last season, she was telling us that she was able to put out the same formation and put out the same system against any team in the ACC. But this season, it's been much more difficult, and she has to make adjustments on the fly.
Maybe one last chance for Syracuse. Rupert loses a hold of the ball, though. And the header into the midfield. Space completely vacated by Syracuse. They had all the numbers forward. Great interception by Ashley Rauch, though. Haven't said her name a whole lot, but She's that calming presence in the midfield for Syracuse.
And she has been really composed in a few situations in this game where she puts her body in a good position to make sure that the turnover isn't forced, and that allows Virginia Tech to be on their counterattack. She steps in when she needs to, and overall, she's probably been one of the better defenders for Syracuse.
Rouch sitting right in front of that defensive line, providing support for Shea Vanderbosch and company. Now there's a pass from Kylan Grant. Clock ticks down in the final 30 seconds after it was stopped in the final minute. Any stoppages do stop the clock to preserve time. No added time in college soccer, so it's one last chance for Anna Weir. She gets the ball in behind, onto her right. It's Weir, and it's the third for Virginia Tech. You could see it coming in the waning moments of the first half. The freshman behind the line makes it 3-0 for the visitors.
Well, Anna Weir, take a bow. What a calm and composed finish. Since she's come on, she has been such a bright spark, pressing the Syracuse defense consistently. Forced Grace Gillett into the mistake, and she slots it home beautifully. What calm and composure from the freshman there with just 11 seconds to go. The task for Syracuse just got even greater.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
A huge mountain to climb for Syracuse. And now after losing to FSU on Thursday, 3-2, at the end of the game, already 3 goals given up in the first half. Difficult if you're Syracuse, but what are the thoughts? If you're head coach Nikki Adams, that's something you got to think of. Think about what's important to respond in that second half. It was all Virginia Tech, though, in the first half here in Syracuse. A goal early on from Emma Pelkowski, supported by her attacking corps, the Hokies, in the front foot.
Can't sleep.
Just a lot on my mind.
I can't sleep either.
It only gets tougher with age.
Mom, what?
Well, knowing Progressive can protect your home, auto, and business should help you relax.
Good, because I could use a good night's sleep.
Me too. You know how early a chimney sweep gets up every day?
Wait, is this all a dream?
Why would Jamie be in my dream?
I am America's biggest spokesperson.
Debatable.
I said biggest.
Well, he's got you there.
Your first home sees a lot of firsts. From first loves to first steps. And with the Home Depot, you'll find the confidence to create the first place you call your own. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Another double dose of Monday Night Football. On ABC, Hurts and the Eagles soar into Tampa Bay. On ESPN, the Rams face Burrow and the Bengals. Eagles Buccaneers at 7 on ABC. Rams Bengals at 8 on ESPN.
Virginia Tech women's soccer all over SU after 45 minutes. The Hokies lead the Orange 3-0. Welcome to the Newhouse Studios for the ACC Network Extra Halftime Report with Annie Claff. I'm Ben Spector. Annie, Syracuse, after a big-time game against Florida State this past Thursday, comes out flat against Virginia Tech. Your first thoughts?
Definitely not an easy weekend, of course, after playing a top 3 team in the nation. But today, Syracuse is playing a little too compact. And by doing so, they're giving Virginia Tech players too much time on the ball, both on the wings and in the center of the field. And that's what's leading to Virginia Tech's shots.
VT leads SU 3-0. We'll see that compact defense and that compact SU team right now. But Virginia Tech and Syracuse, VT could improve to 2-1 in conference play. SU searching for its first ACC win, and the Hokies got off to a fast start.
And Virginia Tech's Emma Pelkowski about to get her first goal of the season, getting Virginia Tech's lead early in the game.
Her first goal of the year in the 5th minute. Virginia Tech up 1-0, but Erin Fleury had a chance to tie it up just after that. She splits multiple defenders. Her left-footed shot is slowed to the feet of Aaliyah Skinner. Still 1-0 Virginia Tech, but VT continued to push.
And here's Samantha de Guzman going to goal and really taking those shots, and that's exactly what she's going to be good doing all day, is taking it down the wing, holding on to the ball, and making sure she's going to have a shot, and she does.
Shea Vanderbosch had to continue to stand on her head, but here against Natalie Mitchell, she couldn't come through.
And Natalie Mitchell really taking it to Shea Vanderbosch on that 1v1, dribbling around Shea and slotting it in.
26 minutes in, 2-0 Virginia Tech. That's Mitchell's 6th goal of the year, but Shea Vanderbosch continued to pull through for the Cuse. The right-handed save at the near post right there. Vanderbosch then comes out of her line, comes in on top, makes another save, continued to make those saves, had 6 of them in the first half, but here Vanderbosch comes off her line, out of the box, clears it, a hard tackle from the goalkeeper, and Anna Ware, as seconds left on the scoreboard, pushed through the SU defense. She was all alone in front of Vanderbosch. Nothing the goalkeeper could do from near Buffalo. Finds the right side of the net, ends the half. Virginia Tech up 3-0. Virginia Tech, Annie, continues to pile on the shots. So many opportunities. Look at that difference, 13-4 in favor of the Hokies.
And something you don't see on here is the foul ratio. Virginia Tech leads with 9 fouls to Syracuse's 4. And Syracuse expected a physical matchup coming into this weekend anyways, and it's very different coming off of Florida State, who plays a very pretty clean game, and then Virginia Tech coming out all out with physical and aggressive moves.
While Virginia Tech has been physical and aggressive, one player on Syracuse that has been physical and aggressive is goalkeeper Shea Vanderbosch. While Syracuse finds itself down 3-0, Vanderbosch, though, has been putting on a show.
And as she does, especially in ACC matchups, because she's so great at reading these shots on her line, and also in terms of communication, but she's got to have some more help and support from that Syracuse back line. Because they're playing so compact, they're leaving players open. And see right here, she's got that give and go right back there, and Shea is left there all alone to handle it.
Vanderbosch continues to show off her tremendous reflexes throughout the season, but especially in this contest. This performance comes off of a 16-save performance against Florida State. That's a career high for Vanderbosch after it was 9 previously. Completely defeated that mark. So far through 45 minutes, she has 5 stops, and Annie, she just continues to face shot after shot. 8 shots faced, that's a lot.
And especially for such a young keeper leading in net as a sophomore, but something Nikki Adams said that she wanted Vanderbosch to do from the start of the season was be more of a holistic soccer player. And in doing that, it comes with leadership roles, and she's doing just that.
Well, Vanderbosch needs a little bit more help in order for Syracuse to cut into the deficit in the next 45 minutes. We're going to break here on the halftime report. Virginia Tech leads Syracuse 3-0. On the other side, we'll talk about how the Virginia Tech offense continues to produce at SU Soccer Stadium.
Sure, there's food at home. But isn't a McDouble with extra pickles, a side of fries, and a high C at home? Don't be ridiculous.
Discover the Lake Advantage when you visit Lake Norman Infinity.
We have been the #1 volume dealer in the Carolinas since 2009.
And that's the Lake Advantage.
We cover all the reconditioning costs on all of our used vehicles so our customers don't have to.
And that's the Lake Advantage.
Get complimentary delivery anywhere in the Carolinas.
And that's the Lake Advantage.
Plus, you'll receive our 3-day love it or exchange it guarantee with every new purchase. Take advantage of the Lake Advantage at Lake Norman Infinity.
With college football on ESPN+, you get the best teams and the biggest conferences, and so much college football action from across the country. So sign up now at ESPNplus.com.
Halftime report on ACC Network Extra with Andy Claff. I'm Ben Spector. Virginia Tech leads Syracuse 3-0 after 45 minutes. The Hokies inching closer and closer to their second ACC win of the season. Annie, a big reason why has to be that Hokies offense continues to produce behind the likes of Natalie Mitchell.
Yeah, and they're definitely generating these offensive opportunities by keeping the ball, making sure it's staying with Maroon players, and also finding those through balls, and they're really just outperforming Syracuse's defense the whole way through.
Emma Pelkowski got on the board first, 5 minutes in, scored. Then Natalie Mitchell in the 25th minute capitalized on her opportunity, and as seconds expired, Anna Ware got going. 3-0 Virginia Tech leads, but Annie, look at the shots on goal. They've had a lot of shots, but they're getting them on target.
This is a team that's being extremely efficient with their shot-taking opportunities and really hitting frame and putting Shea Vanderbosch to work.
Vanderbosch has had to make save after save. She continues to produce for this SU back line, but ultimately she can only do so much. They can only count on her for so much. When you face a volume that high, 8 shots on goal, 13 shots total, it takes a tally on your goalkeeper.
Especially for corner kicks, and coming off of a Florida State game that had 15 corner kicks that Shea Vanderbosch had to work with. 4 is okay right now, but Syracuse defense really has to step up to help out Shea Vanderbosch.
Virginia Tech up 3-0 on Syracuse after 45 minutes. But shifting gears, this past Friday, the John A. Lally Center shovels started to be dug into the ground. Construction began on the complex. It's an athletic complex for student athletes, a renovated project where it will serve 600 student athletes across 20 teams. Multiple people were there, including Dino Babers, John Wildhack, Kent Siverud, and John and Laura Lally. They were on site for the project. This is huge for SU athletics, Annie.
Yeah, a $25 million investment here in the Lally complex, and something that Lally said it will make SU equal to other ACC programs in terms of athletics, what they have to offer, and what they have to offer for the football program especially.
A project like this gets the eyes of recruits around the nation, so people will definitely take notice of the renovations at Syracuse University. We're going to another break here on the Halftime Report, but on the other side, we'll look around the ACC and also give you our keys for the second 45 minutes between Virginia Tech and Syracuse.
Discover the Lake Advantage when you visit Lake Norman Infinity.
We have been the #1 volume dealer in the Carolinas since 2009.
And that's the Lake Advantage.
We cover all the reconditioning costs on all of our used vehicles so our customers don't have to.
And that's the Lake Advantage.
Get complimentary delivery anywhere in the Carolinas.
And that's the Lake Advantage.
Plus, you'll receive our 3-day Love It or Exchange It guarantee with every new purchase. Take advantage of the Lake Advantage at Lake Norman Infinity.
Here we are, the best seat in the house every single Saturday. Guys, it is a privilege to cover the ACC.
You fought for 162 games. Now your shot at glory is hanging by a thread.
He caught it!
The moment is here.
Ball game!
The MLB Wildcard Series on the networks of ESPN.
Getting closer to the second 45 minutes of this contest, Virginia Tech is all over Syracuse women's soccer 3-0 after the first 45 minutes. Welcome back to the Halftime Report on ACC Network Extra with Annie Claff. I'm Ben Spector. Virginia Tech getting close to its second ACC win of the season. SU still searching for its first. But these two squads are not the only conference foes going head-to-head in the ACC. Many other teams going head-to-head, and the big one, Florida State and North Carolina. It's been a back-and-forth affair.
With Florida State losing to North Carolina 3-2, and that's definitely, when they get so close there, it's a close score with the upset opportunity. But when you're both in the top 3 of the nation, is it really an upset when you're so close on either end of the spectrum?
I don't know. I mean, it's a two top three teams in the country going back and forth. Florida State had a 1-0 lead at one point, then a 2-1 lead. UNC has climbed back. I'm looking at that Notre Dame game, though, a potential upset there. Pitt and ND tied at 0-0 at the half. Miami, Louisville, 2 ACC teams in the middle of the pack in the conference final. Miami took that one 1-0 over the Cardinals. So lots going on in the ACC, a lot going on in the conference. More games happening later. NC State and number 16 Duke, as well as number 22 Virginia, who just lost to top-ranked North Carolina. They're going up against Wake Forest in Winston-Salem. But back to Virginia Tech and Syracuse. VT up 3-0 over SU. In order for Virginia Tech to secure that victory in the final 45 minutes, Annie, what do the Hokies have to do?
I think that the Hokies have to keep the pressure up. I mean, they're leading in fouls, but this is a physical team, and this is a team that really knows how to bring it to Syracuse's backsides, whether Syracuse has the ball or they don't. They're coming to 50-50 balls first, and they're really just holding on to the ball once they have it. And on top of that, Virginia Tech also needs to play wide. Syracuse's center midfields are playing way too far compact, and same with the defense, and that's leaving the wingers wide open, so utilize that width.
Virginia Tech playing with a lot of intensity, a big desire to come away from Syracuse with a victory, improved to 2-1 in conference play, get that 5th win, that coveted 5th victory of 2023. But moving over to the Syracuse side now, Annie, what does SU have to do in the second 45 minutes to feel good about its program?
Simply put, Syracuse just needs to up the intensity and up that urgency, because again, Virginia Tech is getting to these balls so much faster than Syracuse is, and even when they have the ball, Syracuse is waiting too long to track it down and hustle back. So I think Syracuse really needs to up the intensity and the urgency in getting to those balls first, as well as just holding on to the ball once you get it.
Syracuse gets its back line exploited a lot in the first 45 minutes. Shea Vanderbosch has been playing well, but she's been having to stand on her head. 8 shots faced, only 5 saves. But when you face that sheer volume of shots, Danny, it becomes quite difficult for the goaltender to continue to produce at such a high level. Virginia Tech up 3-0 after 45 minutes. The second 45 minutes coming up. So for that, we'll send it back out to SU Soccer Stadium with Jared Johnston and Nicholas Whaley. Guys, take it away.
Thanks so much, Ben and Annie. It's definitely a large mountain to climb. If you're Syracuse down 3-0 to Virginia Tech at the half, it's like you're at Everest and you're at base camp right now. It's a lot of work to do.
Absolutely, and I think Coach Nikki Adams, she will be as positive as she can be to her players, because if they can score 3, Syracuse can score 3. It's just the nature of the game, and like in soccer, anything can happen, but it really is a tough hill to climb for SU.
Syracuse starts out the second half with kickoff, quickly taken away, though, by Virginia Tech. Grace Franklin tumbles to the turf. A shot there by Mitchell goes over the bar.
Yeah, really well done by Mitchell, forcing Franklin into the mistake. And once again, Mitchell causing damage early on. And definitely the mistake from Franklin in the end. No foul given. And Mitchell sending it over the crossbar. Could have done a bit better there. Hit the target. She's always such a threat for the Hokies.
The Syracuse team 2-7-1, 0-2 in ACC play entering tonight. We mentioned in the final 5 minutes of that first half, should Syracuse take a chance? I'm going to pose the same question, Nick. How does Syracuse take a chance here?
Well, I think they just got to limit their own mistakes. They have to work as a unit more. This is what Virginia Tech have done so well in this game. They work together, they move forward together, and then they also move defensively together. They all get very nice and compact when Syracuse go on the offensive. They have the energy to force Syracuse into those mistakes, and Syracuse have to give Virginia Tech a bit of their own medicine, because that's what it's going to take to get back into the game. The next goal will be crucial in determining the outcome of the game.
The Orange crowd the midfield. That's the strategy. Syracuse is taking chances. Space on the outside. Abramson attacks. She's 1v2 though, and forces it up to Erin Fleury. Good play by Fleury, wins the ball back and earns a free kick. Count on Erin Fleury to win a few of those and get chopped down from time to time.
And it's going to happen because she just has such creative ability to find a way in between defenders, and if someone does press onto Fleury, she's able to just have that little bit of skill, to those little tiny touches that she can get to get away from the defender, and if she feels any little bit of contact we saw there, she will hit the floor and it will be a free kick.
And that was Victoria Haugen, the center back right there. Player with loads of experience, playing with the Norwegian under 16, 17, 19 national team camps. She's been great for Virginia Tech so far. There's Haugen on the clear. Syracuse tries to control the ball. It stays in, and it's poked free. Samantha de Guzman, another toe poke of it. Now there's a chance with numbers forward for the Hokies. Sophie Maltese takes it to her right. Cut back to the top of the box. Ball rolls past Mitchell. Second chance. Pelkowski for a second. It's in. Emma Pelkowski scored the first one of this game. She bags a brace and makes it 4-0 early in the second half.
The frustration is clear from Shea Vanderbosch. I don't think she had a clean sight of this one, but definitely a mistake on her behalf. She should have done a little bit better. It did take a deflection, but in the end, Shea Vanderbosch really needs to make that save. And for Virginia Tech, Emma Pelkowski, she really has been all over the place for Virginia Tech going forward and has deserved that second goal.
Pelkowski with an assist in her last matchup entering today. 10 games played, 10 starts, and now 2 goals. She's up to 5 points on the season. The last touch coming off of Grace Franklin on the shot, though. Gave Virginia Tech a chance. Here's another one. Easily collected by Shea Vanderbosch. So as Virginia Tech maintains a chokehold on Syracuse early in this second half. It's a top 3 showdown. And ultimately, Hanson Dorrance's squad pulls through with the draw. Florida State went up 3-2, but 3-3 the final score.
Yeah, the final goal came with just 7 seconds to go. FSU's Amelia Zanton, who was able to get that final goal and say a top 3 matchup that really lived up to the billing. 3-3. UNC were leading up until the final 10 seconds, as I mentioned. And I'm going to say, what a game that must have been to watch.
Both teams that these two sides held competitively. As Huggins' ball is looped on, Vanderbosch takes control of the ball. But Syracuse, in their Thursday night matchup, played against number 3 FSU, lost 3-2, but Syracuse had the lead twice off a Lisa Wadden goal that she basically took off an errant pass from Aaliyah Skinner, and then Syracuse also got an own goal. But you look to the other side in Virginia Tech, and just a few games ago, they lost 1-0 to number 2 North Carolina at the time. That was on September 15th. So both these teams played those two sides really tight. It's no surprise that on a given night when two monsters go up against each other, kind of butting heads as far as equal outcome.
And in that game, Virginia Tech did very well in the first half. They actually outshot the Tar Heels 8-4. Second half was though where it sort of fell apart for them. They didn't get a shot at all on the UNC nets. But you have to say the positivity from Virginia Tech, they've been able to hold possession, and you could tell why that they were able to go toe-to-toe with UNC in that game.
And not just holding possession as well, but an adaptable team that has so many different options offensively. And you look at the goal scoring from the first half, first coming from Emma Pelkowski, then the Tallies woman Natalie Mitchell with her 6th of the season, leading her team. And really great chances all around, as that first half was capped off by an Anna Weir goal with 11 seconds to go. And the challenge with Grace Gillard in transition. So Pelkowski wrapping things up just minutes into this one with the 4th goal of the game, her 2nd of the season, and of course 2nd of the game. It's a really huge feat for the midfielder on the ball right now that's really been a driving force for her team. According to her head coach, Chugger Adair, her work rate is unmatched, and she wins balls back just like that. It's a huge reason why Virginia Tech's in the driver's seat.
Well, I've been really impressed with her in this game. That energy was definitely on show in the first half, and she also has that technique to just come up with something out of nothing. And that first goal, which was an absolute pearl from Pelkowski, got the better of Shea Vanderbosch, and that doesn't happen often.
Here's a chance for a cross. Cobb's open on the back post, but Skinner cuts it off. There was space on that far side. Virginia Tech's may be lucky that the goalkeeper claims this one.
And it was well done by Syracuse, able to get the ball into the danger zone, but Aaliyah Skinner did very well to hold on to it, and she hasn't really been tested too much in this game. But when she has been called upon, she has kept Virginia Tech well in check.
Samantha de Guzman looking for the quick reset there after earning the foul. Now here's space for Sophie Maltese. Maltese onto her right, falling to ground by her own doing. And Allie George, the right back, distributes outside. De Guzman with the cross thumped inside on to Alyssa Abramson, and it's another Virginia Tech corner.
The concern there from the free kick for Virginia Tech, Syracuse didn't have any numbers back. All of a sudden, Sophie Maltese had acres of space ahead of her to drive at Syracuse and the defenders, and it was very disappointing. Like, I'm sure there's a few tired legs. 2 games in 4 days, one against the number 3 team in the country, and against Virginia Tech, 2 really good ACC opponents. But you got to do better. You can't be just allowing players to run at your defense like that.
Skyers towards the near post again. Second chance header for Virginia Tech. It's goal right into traffic, and a second chance opportunity again pushed into a Syracuse uniform. Natalie Mitchell, a goal to her name already. Her shot just sails over the bar.
What is it about Virginia Tech and about taking shots from outside the box? And all of them nearly ended up being in the back of the net. Once again, Natalie Mitchell, she did this on Thursday against Boston College, and just a little bit over the crossbar. Looked like Shea Vanderbosch had it covered in the end, but Natalie Mitchell has just been everywhere as well for Virginia Tech in this game. Of course, now she has 6 goals on the season. Really has been great for Virginia Tech.
That's a part of what makes Chugger Adair's squad so adaptable. He mentioned how last season played a bit more in a facilitating role, as Natalie Mitchell had 3 goals, 8 assists. They had a few injuries to forwards, like Tori Powell out second on the team in points last year. And now all of a sudden, Natalie Mitchell's playing right wing. Samantha de Guzman slots in. Mitchell started this game in midfield, and she's still scoring. She's still facilitating. I mean, so tough for Syracuse to defend.
And that's what makes her so impressive, is that she's very versatile and she's so calm and composed when playing.
Maltese up ahead for Taylor Bryan. Her first touch just out of play. Referee confirms, the center official, and it's a goal kick.
Yeah, going back to Mitchell, it's just the way that she's just so calm on the ball. She makes the right decisions almost every time. She has a very high soccer IQ, able to find that space that maybe that other players don't really see. And I've been really impressed with her, not just today, but throughout the entire season. She has definitely been one of those players that all ACC teams really need to look out for.
And Syracuse is preparing some substitutes to warm up. The early goal definitely influences things from Pelkowski. Maybe if you're head coach Nikki Adams, you're out of this game, maybe just trying to preserve legs. But Liesl Auden is getting set to go on the pitch. Maybe something that could change things for Syracuse. So far, they're just behind the 8 ball again, conceding another free kick to Virginia Tech.
Yeah, and Samantha de Guzman was making the run and got the better of Abramson there. And actually, it was actually a free kick that went against de Guzman, but she just has so much pace and is able to get in behind the fullback so easily. And really, Coach Chugger was not happy with that decision.
Yeah, that's why he's talking to the 4th official there, wondering what went wrong. And Cobb earned a free kick there. It's another one of those plays where it's kind of just a 50-50 challenge.
It's the tone that the referee sets for the game. He did it in the first half, where the 50-50 challenges sort of go in one certain direction. He's going to call it every single time, and he has been consistent, and that is actually a positive for sure, but the frustration for Coach Chugger is definitely there.
Erin Fleury sits her defender on the grass. Fleury, space on her right, now surrounded by Virginia Tech shirts. Maybe Abramson can operate, but she's running herself into a corner here. She does get a corner kick for Syracuse.
Well done from Abramson in the end to win the corner, but Erin Fleury once again creating for the Orange. She's just able to find that gap and able to split the defenders even in the 18-yard box. But the problem for Fleury there was that she didn't have enough options. Syracuse weren't moving off the ball as much as they should be. She needs to have players who are making diagonal runs across the box, and there just wasn't any evidence of that at all, and frustration for Fleury for sure.
Ball looped inside by Abramson. Gillard settles it down off of Mitchell. Rauch on the first time try. Now another one from Gillard. More Virginia Tech shirts in front of the ball, and it's cleared, and Maltese can't get to it.
Yeah, the ball ping-ponging around in the box is a real good opportunity for Syracuse to try and at least test Skinner in goal, and they just weren't able to find a clear shot. Virginia Tech defending well, making sure they blocked every opportunity.
So Virginia Tech with this 4-goal lead. Their early goal in the second half coming from Emma Palkowski. It's the first time Virginia Tech has scored 4 goals in a game. First time Syracuse has allowed 4 goals in a game since 2021 against Pittsburgh. They didn't do that last season. That's a huge reason why they had that success in Nikki Adams' first 8-win season, first winning season under her tenure.
And the frustration will definitely be there. And I mean, we've seen it from Coach Adams that with only 14 fit players, it makes it very difficult to play the style that she wants to play, but she has to make do with what she has.
Syracuse started the game with 4 field players on the bench. Kate Murphy exiting due to injury. It really only leaves 3 players to rotate in and out.
And especially when you have two games in the space of only a few days, it makes it very difficult. And eventually, as the minutes drag on in the second half, we could possibly see a few more Syracuse players pulling up, maybe with cramp and muscle injuries. And we really hope that doesn't happen for the sake of Coach Adams.
Skyers with the cross again. She's got to the near post every time. Have to wonder if that was a scouting report against Syracuse.
Well, yeah, it is possible, Jared, but I think as well it's just she hasn't had a good delivery, and going to the near post is definitely something that the Hokies were looking at, especially when you look at the second goal that Florida State scored on Thursday against Syracuse. It did go to the near post and eventually ended up being an own goal against the Orange, but Virginia Tech do have bodies in the middle that could allow them to have more opportunities on these set pieces. I'd like to see Skylar actually play the ball into that danger zone around the penalty area more often.
Great positioning from Dupree. She finds the half space and just can't thread the needle there.
It's that final ball that has been such a problem today for Syracuse. It's something that Virginia Tech, on that final ball, excuse me, Jared, sorry, it's Virginia Tech really like to find that gap, and they've been able to find it with Mitchell and Pilkowski. They work together so well, and that's just something that Syracuse is lacking at the moment. Maybe that's a little bit of fatigue coming in as well.
No turn.
Good defending. Kylan Grant forces another corner kick.
See if this one goes near post this time.
So far, every single one from Eden Skyers has. She takes that in-swinging ball from the right side. So this will be, I'm confident, it's about 5th or 6th time. She had 3 of them in the first half. She just whipped one in just minutes ago. So Skyers, the Jacksonville transfer, left back for Virginia Tech. We'll see where it goes. Near post again, and out of play again.
Yeah, that's definitely not in the plan, Jared. I mean, when you're crossing the ball into the penalty area, you want to keep it in play, and Natalie Mitchell had so much space as well. You could I think that is part of the scouting report, is to have players crash the Syracuse goal for Virginia Tech, but Natalie Mitchell had so much space at the top of the box. I wouldn't be surprised if Adam Schuyler decided to play it into Mitchell straight away at the top of the 18. Then Mitchell would have had a wide shot at goal.
You know the saying, here comes trouble, make it double, Nick? You ever heard that?
No, what does that mean?
Well, I don't know. I just saw 2 players sub on the field, and Anna Weir is back on it. And she's opened up the game for Virginia Tech. Got the 3rd goal in this matchup, and when she entered the pitch, she changed the verticality that they had, and now Syracuse, you have tired legs. You already gave up a 4th. You got to watch out for Anna Weir and company.
Yeah, Jared, you and I were talking about just how impressive she was coming off the bench at halftime, and it's just that she has the pace and she has the perfect amount of aggressiveness that provides this Virginia Tech that energy that is required coming off the bench, and is causing all kinds of headaches for Syracuse.
Lisa Wadden chases the ball down. Tried to get a corner kick. Sometimes that works, kicking into the other player, but both of them on the same page, and Tech sidesteps out of the way. It's a goal kick.
Virginia Tech just not really needing to defend as much in the second half, and that 4th goal from Pilkowski has really changed the mood, and you can feel it. You can feel the sort of dynamic change where Virginia Tech really are holding more of the ball. They only outpossessioned Syracuse in the first half by 54 to 46%, and in the second half, you have to say it's definitely up in the upper 60 to 70% range of Virginia Tech having the ball.
No space for Syracuse to pass the ball. Lisa Wadden looks for her options. Good check of the shoulder from Rauch. And Abramson with a great touch pass. Allie George wins another corner kick for Syracuse. the Orange are just getting run out of space on that far side, or rather just any outside area of the pitch.
If you were to ask the question, where is her support? I mean, Emerson, she did a great job of running down the line, but there weren't any white shirts pressing into the box. There weren't any coming short for her so that they could work the ball around the penalty area. Needs more support from her teammates.
So Abramson won the corner. She crosses the ball in. Up to the top of the box. Cobb with the first touch. Heavy challenge. Gillard with a second chance. And it's a tame ball missing wide.
That was a good corner kick there. Just didn't find the Syracuse shirt that Abramson was looking for, but I like that aggressiveness from Asia Cobb. She definitely gets stuck in there, and she has been one of the bright sparks for Syracuse in this game so far. She definitely puts her body on the line, tries to win the ball at every opportunity, and make sure that she is the one who comes out with it.
Cobb, a player sideline for most of her career at Syracuse, out going into her freshman season, sophomore season, 9 games, junior season, out for the season, and finally back in the lineup. And she's had a chance to try to make a name for herself, but she does not have a collegiate point yet on the year, so it's really up to her to move into these spaces where Syracuse right now with Alyssa Abramson and Erin Fleury are out wide. Cobb's got to maneuver, find space, and try to connect. Liesl Auden stops it up on her left. Plays it to Mackenzie Dupre. It's one of those plays where you make that pass right back and you're offside. Where's the awareness, though, from that moment? That's what you're looking at?
Absolutely. I'm a little bit baffled to say, Jared. I'm a bit disappointed there in Dupre, and you have to understand when you're playing the ball, especially near the corner flag, you need to get back in position. Having an offside there is just unnecessary. It is a mistake, and I was a little bit disappointed because it just completely ruined the Syracuse attack.
Ball over the top. Weir has so much speed. She wins her first touch, and now she's one-on-one. Anna Weir with the 3rd goal of this game distributes over to the far post, and Cobb heads it away for a corner.
Anna Weir, take a bow at the moment. Oh my goodness, the way she was just sort of toying with Kaylin Cron at that point. She has just incredible footwork as well, and the way that she was able to press Kaylin Grant with just almost out of nowhere. It was Kaylin Grant, I think, almost predicted that she wasn't going to get pressed as hard as she did. Anna Weir really has the energy for VT.
She's running to that far post. Here's the first ball, nearly tucked into that bottom corner.
Inches away for Lauren Gogol there, and it sort of took a bounce right before, might have thrown Gogol off there, and I think it was the bounce that did it. Head in her hands for sure. She knows how good of an opportunity that was to make it 5.
It's almost like she wasn't expecting that ball to bounce. Virginia Tech so often has planned for that near post header, get the second chance at a header, but because that was missed, I mean, Gogol, their hands on her head there, another chance to get a goal.
Yeah, she's one of the tallest players on the pitch at 5'10". She's normally expecting, that's why she's crowding around the 6-yard area on those set pieces. She's waiting for the ball to come in, almost to come off her head, and that opportunity just went to the wayside.
Ball pinbound, balls around through midfield. Rauch forces it back up. And Virginia Tech goes the other way. De Guzman, strong touch forward. Samantha De Guzman squares it, and the shot parried away by Vander Bosch. It's another chance for Virginia Tech, and where Syracuse gets caught out after a turnover.
And it was poor here from Kylie Grant. She's not had a good few minutes, just completely dived in on De Guzman. Comes back out, and it's a good shot and a decent save in the end. Vander Bosch, she was in motion there. It's sometimes difficult for the goalkeeper to make that reaction save, but Jay Vander Bosch did very well there.
Substitution.
So Rhea James enters the field for Syracuse. Vander Bosch keeps it in play. She's one of the final players on the bench that hadn't featured. She's listed on the roster as a forward and a midfielder. She plays pretty much everywhere on that outside. But right now, she's right up top, providing fresh legs for Syracuse. The Orange have 3 players forward right now, so it's different from how they started the game. Chances to take, but space is going to be left in behind. So how do you balance that eagerness to take chances and maybe salvage something from a 4-0 score, along with not letting it get out of hand?
I think it's definitely going to depend on the maturity of the Syracuse defense, whether they're able to just stand their ground and make the smart plays. I mean, Rhea James coming on, I like that substitution from Coach Adams. Rhea James was actually, she was a sprinter in high school. She has a lot of pace and could cause a few more problems on the Virginia Tech side. They haven't seen that sort of pace yet in this game, but it's going to be tricky for Syracuse from now on.
Great turn by Samantha de Guzman. Too much sauce on the pass. Out of play.
What's your favorite sauce, Jared?
Substitution for Virginia Tech.
People might crucify me for this, but I mean, I put ketchup on everything.
Number 19.
Does that count as a sauce?
I'd say so.
I was playing a game with some of my friends last night, and we were having this argument about whether sauce is actually if ketchup is actually a sauce.
I mean, it pretty much is. It's just vinegar, salt, pepper. I don't need to get into the food science of it all, but you know, there's plenty of different ways you could go about that. I'm sure a full English breakfast could serve you well with something like that, or...
Hey, you always have some tomato sauce and baked beans with that.
Syracuse trying to challenge a 4-0 lead that Virginia Tech holds. The Orange's last win coming on senior night against Binghamton just weeks ago. Ever since then, after completing a 5-game road trip, it's been difficult to hold results against tough ACC competition.
That's the thing. In the ACC, there's no easy game. And last season as well, Syracuse only managed 1 win against ACC opponents. And we've seen it again this season, how strong this conference is. And both on the men's and women's side, there's no doubt they're the best conference in NCAA soccer today.
So Syracuse making do with its personnel. A few fresh players onto the pitch. Syracuse spreads the width, crosses in. Leah Skinner is there. Is that all that's going to happen for the rest of this game? Because there's 5 players lined up with that back line, but no one's supporting that short pass.
And that's what's been the problem. Frankly, the entire game, it's having that final play in the Virginia Tech half. Syracuse have just been going long, and you want to have more options. And frankly, Syracuse do have the personnel to play those ball shots. If Aberson and Fleury can connect and do a little triangle together, make it easier.
Natalie Mitchell behind the line. Can't get a solid touch of it.
You expect Mitchell to get a good touch on that. That's what she did against BC for her first goal. Ball came in on the diagonal, and she made a brilliant touch in the penalty area and ended up scoring for the Hokies. And you expect a little bit better from Mitchell, as she's now at such a high standard, even as a sophomore.
Go on here. Good. Well done, Ash.
Asia Cobb to Anna Rupert. The pass just thumped right into her marker. So if you're Syracuse, maybe you're thinking about the next game. I mean, it's tough to think about when there's 18 minutes to go, but Syracuse completed a 5-game road trip, came back for 2 home games, the 3-2 loss against number 3 FSU, and now this game against Virginia Tech. 6 days from now, on the road against Clemson. Then you play Wake Forest at home. Then you play Louisville on the road. And the road just never gets easier.
It really doesn't, does it, for the Orange? I mean, at least next time for Syracuse, they'll have Zoe van der Kloot back, who is on international duty with Belgium at the moment. She'll definitely be a key piece that will be back for Syracuse, and hopefully help them get a result on the road. Clemson is definitely no easy place to go.
The ball is lofted inside. Aaron Fleury is getting called for a foul there.
I think it's a little
pushing off her defender.
A little bit of frustration, I think, kicking in on Aaron Fleury's part. She hasn't really had, has had sparks in possession where she's been able to create something, but she just hasn't had that support that's required to sort of to come together. Well, for Syracuse, it is a team sport after all, and that's why you have 11 players on the field need to be working together.
Anna Weir stops up the ball on her right, curling ball over the bar.
How many times have Virginia Tech hit the top netting in this game, Jared? I think there's at least 3 or 4. Anna Weir once again creating space so easily and trying to lift it in between Shea Vanderbosch's hand and the crossbar. She has been possibly the best player for Virginia Tech, especially off the bench.
Now head coach Chuck Adair using one of his many reinforcements. Keeps the legs fresh. When we spoke to Chugger yesterday, his team was on the road on a bus ride from Boston College. He said when they got here yesterday afternoon, some light training work and rehab, and so far kept the legs fresh, continue generating offensive chances. But yeah, a lot of these players said hydrotherapy, just stretching, nutrition, things like that, and now the subs get a chance to make a name for themselves, and it's a pretty good chance there.
Yeah, Ellie Farrell has just come on for the Hokies, and it was just flicked over the crossbar by, once again, Anna Weir. Just needs to get over the ball a little bit more and try and put her laces through it more rather than sort of side-footing it into the net.
Farrell, one of the 36 players on this roster. Syracuse, if you don't include the injuries, they had 24 at the start of the season. So Virginia Tech already had a third more of the players on the roster. A few players sidelined to injury, but you know, the fresh legs have been plentiful on the visiting side, and it's a huge part of that result for the 4-0 score that they hold over Syracuse.
I mean, you really do feel for Coach Nikki Adams. I mean, Maya McDermott, Kendall Lauer, 2 huge names who would be so crucial in games like this, are absent and will be absent for the foreseeable future for Syracuse.
It's the same with Ava Uribe, the transfer from Penn State, sidelined at the start of the season just weeks before. Just one of the many features that could have been, but didn't eventually get the chance to. She's on the bench right next to Nikki Adams under that protected area. Keeps you sheltered from the rain and the elements that really drizzled in the first half, settled down in the second half, but it's still a bit chilly in Syracuse, and the pitch a bit slick. Virginia Tech's taking full advantage of that. Corner kick try for Syracuse. To the top of the box. They got to settle this down to feet. Gillard again goes for a shot. Skinner can't save that ball. The official ruling another corner kick.
Sent it into the parking lot, Jared. But yeah, a few shouts for handball off of the shot from Grace Gillard there, but referee definitely turned his back on that one. And Syracuse, they need to make the most of these corner kicks, and I'm liking the balls in from Ashley Roush. That the service for Syracuse on set pieces has been really good today. They just haven't had the end product.
Roush to near post, cleared all the way out. And Rhea James first to it. She doesn't have much support though. Farrell falls to ground. Dupre back to James. Syracuse getting run out of their own attacking half.
That was well done there by James, able to stay on her feet despite the challenge.
Ashley Roush, left side flank, favoring her right, cuts inside, falls to ground. Nothing of it. Good challenge from Riley McCarthy in on the field.
I wouldn't have been surprised if the referee gave that a second look. Ashley Roush did very well to get better of the defender. She did go to ground. It was sort of shoulder to shoulder. In the end, I think it was the right decision by the referee.
Gilly, be an option, Gilly!
Backline is spread thin. Syracuse expanding the field, more space now, and This is way different than we've seen when Syracuse was going for the goals when it was closer.
They're working the ball nicely, but then all of a sudden they make those mistakes in their own half, and all of a sudden it's all frantic for Syracuse. They just need to have that composure and work together. Is definite concern now for Ashley Rauch.
Just went hard into a challenge. When you think of Ashley Rauch, just a redshirt sophomore out of Virginia, but she's been a key fixture in that midfield, and she's also the aggressor to most challenges. A few yellow cards already on the season, and even when they say, hey, you got a warning here, don't get another one, she's always really getting into challenges, really feisty and operating, and so far she hasn't had a booking in this game. She's been quite disciplined so far.
Yeah, she really, even as a redshirt freshman, has the captain's armband, and really has been one of the leaders, especially in the outfield, along with Erin Fleury. And it really was impressive on that play, but she really does seem to be struggling after that challenge.
Through ball inside, collected by Vanderbosch. Syracuse with players crowded in the midfield. Maybe a chance to get a consolation goal at the very least. That's what you're looking for if you're head coach Nikki Adams.
And even though it's just one goal and doesn't really reflect too much on the score line, it is a little bit of a confidence booster. If Erin Fleury gets that goal, she has a little bit more confidence in her play, and whether it's even another goal scorer, even if it's someone like Ashley Rauch who gets on the score sheet, it means a lot on a personal level to these players in what has been a very tough season so far.
Great play by Rupert. Cobb tries to spin her way out of pressure, unsuccessfully. And it's out for a Syracuse throw. Erin Fleury drifting towards the right side. On the turn, fires a shot. Not threatening at all. She's been going for those long-range chances. That's how she scored most of her goals this season. It's a big piece of how she's improved in the offseason, but it's tougher. You got to challenge Skinner there.
Well, rather than having that shot on goal there, I think Liza Loden was in lots of space at the far post. She had got the better of her defender, and I would have liked to see Erin Fleury try and put that cross towards the back post, and then would have been an even better opportunity for Oden there.
Lisa Wadden on the ball. One of the goal scorers for Syracuse against number 3 FSU in a 3-2 loss on Thursday. And since she's gotten the nod of approval to say, hey, need you on the pitch, she's been slotted in at forward, midfield. Naturally more of a midfielder, but she's been all over the pitch in lieu of injuries for Syracuse, and has definitely been a contributing factor for the Orange, fighting as much as possible for a result.
And she's definitely played the narrative of pressing high, being that sort of pest and onto opposing defenders and goalkeepers, as we saw against FSU, the forcing the mistake. Haven't seen that as much from her today, and it's a little bit disappointing that Syracuse haven't tried to press a little bit higher and force even more mistakes. Skinner, who did have a few in the first half and who we've seen is a little bit susceptible to a few misplays out of the back, we haven't seen those in the second half, and from a Virginia Tech standpoint, that is definitely a positive.
So if you're looking at the score clock now and it's under the final 10 minutes and you missed all the 4 goals, Virginia Tech with a flurry of offense in the first half. Emma Pelkowski has 2 goals, both at the start of each half. And then Natalie Mitchell, the leading goal scorer for Virginia Tech, scored midway through that first frame. And then number 3, Anna Weir, the freshman for Virginia Tech, got the 3rd goal of this contest. So that sits things where we have it. Virginia Tech taking care of business after a 2-1 win against Boston College on Thursday. They made the trek to Syracuse and really have just been in control of this contest and seeing things out through the final 8 minutes and change.
It's been the case from the opening few minutes. Emma Polkowski's goal in the 6th minute was a real shock to Syracuse, and the game plan for the Orange was to hold on as much as they can and try and force a mistake, get a lucky goal here and there like they did against Florida State on Thursday. That has definitely not been the script for Virginia Tech. They took the game by the scruff of the neck and have really punished the Orange when they've made their own mistakes.
Scruff of the neck there, that's new.
You haven't had that one before?
Well, I mean, I picture like an animal picking up another animal. You've never seen that?
Oh, no, yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, Virginia Tech has really handled Syracuse like so. Into the offensive third of play. Just outside the goal box, Abramson. It was Kate Murphy exiting in the first half due to head-to-head contact to the back of the head. Now, a ball driven to the back of your head can have a similar effect.
Absolutely, and it's very dangerous. It's right in the spot where the spinal cord connects to your brain, and not to get too medically technical, it definitely is not a nice feeling. It gives you a real jolt into the back of your head, and it's definitely scary. There's been definitely injuries which have resulted in that kind of incident, and hopefully Alyssa Abramson will be all right to continue.
Syracuse, number 25,
I'm glad we're learning about
for
science,
5,
food, medicine,
Yeah, I'm good.
and soccer, I guess, here this afternoon here in Syracuse.
I only got a B in biology, Jared, so don't take my word for it.
Well, many of the student athletes here at Syracuse in those medical programs and really featuring well the diverse academia here at Syracuse University. You mentioned Kendall Lauer was out for this game after getting injured on Thursday against FSU and broadcasting, and a lot of players too, you know, take up similar things to what we're doing right now. So there's plenty of opportunities for these players, part of the recruiting trail. If you're head coach Nikki Adams over the next few years to say, hey, opportunity to play, opportunity to study, opportunity to be more well-rounded than you could be at another ACC school.
Yeah, Kendall Lauer is a prime example. She's writing for the Daily Orange. She's a magazine digital news major at the Newhouse School. And she is real devastating for her to be out for the rest of the season with a apparent knee injury that she suffered on Thursday. The fact that she's able to make publications for a really big news organization in the city of Syracuse is really impressive.
She might need your science help for that rehab, too.
Yeah, definitely.
I think she's got the writing handle, though. She's at the right place.
She's definitely a better writer than me, that's for sure.
Ashley Rauch on the half turn. Syracuse in the home white uniforms trying to see out the final moments of this game. And the 4-0 score really done and dusted. A lot of the key players that were on the field now off of it for Virginia Tech. We mentioned the goal scorers like Natalie Mitchell, among others, Anna Weir. Right now, it's a lot of players getting a chance to get their legs under them, you know, get some experience against an ACC opponent, and it's really good for Coach Chugger's squad to really test things out before Virginia Tech moves along on to its next game at home against Wake Forest.
It'll be a tough game back down in Virginia for the Hokies, but they've really proved over the last few days that they are a formidable force in the ACC and definitely will look to be back in the NCAA tournament this season. Coach Chugger is very accustomed to the tournament. He has been a part of it in all but 2 seasons as the head coach of Virginia Tech, the 3rd most successful coach in program history. He's done an incredible job with not just this team, but over the past decade at Virginia Tech.
The furthest they've gone to the semifinals of the national tournament, but you mentioned how successful this team can be getting gritty against other opponents. If you want to ask anyone that anything can happen in postseason play, just ask the Syracuse men's soccer team with that national championship banner. Just at midfield there, you see it hanging overtime as the ball moves across midfield. It's They had the ceremony just a few weeks ago commemorating that victory, and that was a season where nobody expected Syracuse to get on the board. So the Virginia Tech team, if you're women's or men's team, you're looking at that and saying, okay, you got players in your locker room, you get good culture, you get a good game plan going, anything can happen in those matches.
Yeah, if that tournament run is anything to go by, in this level of soccer, anything can really happen. In the NCAA, you can go from being unranked to winning a national championship, as Syracuse saw last season, and they went on to not lose a game for over 11 months. And Virginia Tech, if they can go on a run now and continue to beat teams in the ACC, they can definitely be a formidable threat once the tournament comes around.
Aaliyah Skinner helped lead Virginia Tech in their last tournament run, got through to the second round. They did defeat Ohio State just years ago. Now her team's defending with her back in net. As Erin Fleury tries to launch a final attack for Syracuse, the ball gets cleared away. But Aaliyah Skinner, who's been perfect so far in this game, was injured all of last season after the opening game. Lauren Hargrove, double zeros on the bench. That is her number, not just a single zero. Played 17 games, went 9-2-6, and really stepped up in Skinner's absence. So the player had a full time to recover, rest. Aaliyah Skinner, the senior, gets back in net. And Syracuse has had so much trouble challenging her, especially in this second half when things have died down.
Yeah, Lauren Hargrove on the bench. She played against Syracuse last season, recorded a clean sheet. But Aaliyah Skinner, despite a few scares in the first half, she has really locked down the Virginia Tech goal, and the Virginia Tech defense as a whole has just been so solid today, and it's really been impressive because they're able to move forward in transition so beautifully.
Moser moves it forward. Vanderbosch claims the cross.
Very well read by Vanderbosch. She had to be sure that that ball was not going to be won at the near post, and she did very well to read it at the back.
And Syracuse moves up its defensive line here, compacting the field. Skinner's going to have to go over the top. Gillard to the first ball. Erin Fleury, the team leader in goals, charging in, and her shot again, just not enough on it. It's tough to do things yourself offensively.
Yes, she's really been the key to Syracuse's offense throughout the season, not just tonight and this afternoon, excuse me. And she has had those shots, and they have been with power. She's created quite a lot from nothing, but just hasn't had the location on the shots to really cause Skinner any problems.
So if you're head coach Nikki Adams, what are your final takeaways from this game before you move on?
I think it's just time to regroup. Look, you had one bad game. Things can happen. Let's take the positives that we have from the game. Look back at the Florida State game as well. Got to take these two games sort of together and look forward to Clemson.
Syracuse moves forward to play Clemson away from home next weekend. But this match, wrapping things up in Syracuse, the Orange just could not get anything going. Virginia Tech with a 4-0 win over Syracuse. Head coach Chugger Adair's squad just really strong with the attacking threats.
Absolutely. I mean, 4 goals is nothing to look over. I think Emma Pelkowski was absolutely phenomenal today, along with Natalie Mitchell. They got 3 of the 4 goals. And then a special shout out to Anna Weir as well, who was phenomenal coming off the bench. Real attacking spark for the Hokies.
Syracuse had some inspiration after a Thursday night loss to number 3 FSU, but things were not pretty at all. A 4-0 win for Virginia Tech, 3 first half goals, a brace from Emma Pelkowski. Syracuse just couldn't come back. Thanks so much for joining us here this afternoon. I'm Jared Johnson alongside Nicholas Whaley. Thanks to our producer Kristen Hennessy and all the crew for everything right here on ACC Network Extra.